So my name is Laurent Lévy. I work for Contra Security. I've been working in application security for a long time already. And I want to show maybe how instrumentation can be a good solution to secure your software development lifecycle. So let's start with seeing what is an average application. Usually an average application will contain more or less 30 vulnerabilities. And among these vulnerabilities, you will find most of the vulnerability in the custom source code that is being written by the developers. And you will also find vulnerabilities in the libraries. However, the mass of the library, the big part of the library is not used. It's just there to build or to compile or just to be there, but it's not really used by the application. So indeed, most of the vulnerability will be in the custom code, and few vulnerabilities will be in the libraries, but sometimes it's the worst one because you cannot really fix it. You cannot really do, you can replace the library, but you cannot really fix it correctly. So if we see exactly what are the attacks, you can see that for maybe 20 years already, we have cross-site scripting, path traversal, SQL injection, method or parameter tampering. It's always the same vulnerabilities that are being done all over your application and all over the internet. What it shows, I don't know, maybe the problem has not been solved already after 20 years. So eventually, we would like to show another way to do. Another problem also is that, with Agile, you don't have a release a year, so you don't have a lot of time to do security. Probably you know that more than me. And if you have a release every week or every day, then you have to do maybe better than what is being done already. And this is about instrumentation. So instrumentation is not something new. For example, you can do this with your smartwatch that monitors some of your vital signs. And eventually one day, the watch will know more about you than yourself. So this is what is instrumentation, just to explain. Also, in the plane industry, they are doing a lot of instrumentation. And if you guess how many plane crash there was in 2017, 0. 0 crash plane in 2017. It's not only because instrumentation, it's a lot of things, but we can see that they've done a lot of effort. Okay, so in application, how does work instrumentation? Basically, it will run within your application and will put sensors in your applications. Maybe you know those application performance monitoring tools like New Relic or things like that allows you to do instrumentation, but it is done for performance. We can use also instrumentation to do security. How? This IaaS technology, how does it work? When a user or when the application is being used, when the application runs, with the sensors the instrumentation puts in the application, you are able to see the flows of the application. So you can see, for example, what is a vulnerability usually in an application. It's a flow from, I would say, a source to a sink. It's not a single point of line of code. It's really a succession of events in the application that create the vulnerability. And with the IaaS technology, you are able to follow these flows. So you don't compute the flow. You don't really emulate the flow. You really see the flow that's happening inside the application. Therefore, usually the fact that it's a real flow, we have seen it. The instrumentation have seen it. Therefore, it should be a real flow. This is something important. And just by using your application, instrumentation will be able to find flows from source to sink that are vulnerable. The source could be, for example, a user input, and this user input will flow to a function that is vulnerable that would harm your application. very basic example, like SQL injection or cross-site scripting, it's that. It's usually a user input or something else, but a data that is not validated or sanitized, that goes to a function that connects to the database, for example. So like that, we are able to find the vulnerabilities in the applications. Another possibility is to protect the application, to make the application self-protect against attack. So by attacking, an attacker could attack the application, and in the same way, instrumentation can see what this attack is doing inside the application. Will it really harm the application? Will it not harm the application? Will it do something? So the Rust technology sees that and can block the request or the attack in real time, or monitor, whatever you prefer. Okay, I will try to show you how with instrumentation we can cover a full pipeline. So I selected a very simple application, this Spring Pet Clinic application. And we'd like to show like how in the development world, for the developer on the developer workstation, instrumentation can help the developer. And then how on the QA, also in the continuous integration pipeline or wherever, instrumentation also can find the results and help you. And finally, in the production, how the application can be protected against attack. Okay. So Contrast has launched a community edition, and therefore, by connecting on this URL, you will be able to test and to do exactly what I will show you now. You can create your account and access the interface exactly like I will do. Okay, so I will start now. Okay, so let's go on my development environment. This is my development environment. And what I want to start with is to connect on my community edition. So I log in. And I want to instrument an application. So instrumenting an application is quite easy. You just download the file. And you don't have, sometimes you don't even have to download the file. If you are using Docker, Pivotal, Cloud Foundry, OpenShift, you don't even have to do that. It's already inside those container manager, I don't know how you call it. But here I will just download this file. And then I will add this line in my POM XML if I use a Maven or directly in my IDE. So here is my IDE. And I will start an application. So I have already created an application. So this is Spring Pet Clinic. And let's start it. So this should start it. Okay, so the beginning, you can see that I have added this command line argument somewhere in my POM XML, and we can see that it's loading. So now my application is instrumented, my application is loading, and in a few seconds, I should be able to connect to it. Okay, my application is started, you can see it here. And therefore, I believe it's with Firefox. I will connect to it. And I will just use it. I will just check that what I have written is working. So I put here, for example, Lewis, find, no result, cool. Okay, we don't see, but you see I have received a Slack notification that there is a critical vulnerability in my application. So let's just click on it. Where is it? It's there. So I have just, by using my application, by checking that my code is working, I have just found that there is a vulnerability. I did not scan, I did not do anything. I would just use instrumentation. I follow the flow of my application, and I saw that this user input or this request, this HTTP request, leads to that SQL query. And we said that SQL query was vulnerable to SQL injection. So if I want to go in the detail, I can see here what is the flow, what is the attack vector of my vulnerability. So it's a succession of nodes. Every file and line of code in my application shows me that here I am doing a string concatenation of my last name to run my SQL query. Okay, cool. So this was on Slack. We can also see this directly inside the IDE. So for example, here I found a vulnerability. I click on it. I see that there was a string concatenation, and I should be able to click here to see that indeed I had a string concatenation of my user input to create my SQL query. The fact that we do not have to scan, we don't have to do dust, we don't have to do anything, you see that this instrumentation really see what the application is doing in real time and continuously. So every time this application will be used, the vulnerabilities, you will get a security test in the background. This is the key. So it don't slow me down. Why? Because I just work as usual, and just by testing my application before check-in, before I do my check-in, I will be able to get my vulnerabilities and to fix it if I want to fix it. This is the idea. Okay. The good thing about the instrumentation, I believe, is the accuracy of the result, because an automatic solution is very good, but if half of my result or most of my results are not interesting or are false positive, it won't be very useful for me. With this instrumentation technology, you can check and test on this OWASP benchmark project. It's a project that you can download on the internet and test maybe with the community edition what are the results. And you should be able to see that the accuracy is very, very good compared probably to other solutions. Okay, so basically I have downloaded a file. And sometimes I don't even have to download this file. And I include this into my build somewhere, into my Maven, into my Gradle, or into my whatever process I have. It's not complicated. And once it's integrated, every time people, developer, or whoever will use the application, it will report the vulnerability in real time. It will report attacks and vulnerabilities. So this is the idea. Okay, the key is this. You just have to add this somewhere into your application, if it's a Java application for sure, and this application will be instrumented. Okay, now let's try to see how it works in QA. So I will, okay, yeah, you have seen that it integrates quite well with Slack. No need to integrate with other solutions, with Slack or with Chrome. So the developers will get these vulnerabilities in real time without having a Jira ticket to manage or something like that. It's before check-in. I don't have to manage the vulnerability. I get my vulnerability while I am writing my code. Like in Word, when I write a document, I get my vulnerabilities like I write my document. It's not exactly when I write it, but it's when I test it. But it's unlikely that a developer will write code and will never check that it works. And this is enough for us, or for the instrumentation, to find the vulnerabilities. So now let's see how we can do this in a continuous integration. So I will go in my QA environment, and I have Jenkins. This is another thing. Where is my Jenkins? Just a second. Yes, this is my Jenkins. So here I have my Jenkins. And I have a job pet clinic. So it's the same job. And what I did to instrument my job, so if I do it in Maven, I have nothing to do, or almost nothing to do. Yeah, so in this plugin, what I can say, I want to make my job unstable or to fail my build if I have any vulnerabilities. For example, I can add as much condition as I want. For example, here, I want to fail my build or to make my build unstable if I have only one critical vulnerability. Cool, let's see how it works in reality. I just build my application. So I have clicked on build. It's downloading the pet clinic from the GitHub, and then it runs the Maven test. And by running the Maven test, I have instrumented those Maven tests. Those Maven tests are running REST or GET or POST to check that the application is working as usual. And just by doing that, we managed to find the vulnerabilities in the environment. So we will check here. Here I have my application pet clinic. I have 3 environments. My development environment, this is for the developer, and we got vulnerabilities, but eventually the developer will fix it even before the check-in. And then after the check-in, I am in my QA environment, and in my QA environment, I am able to find my vulnerabilities. So this job is running now, I believe, and has finished. And what we see that we can see it here, or we can see it in Slack. I just refresh the page. Okay, we can see that we have found vulnerability in our QA. So I click on this and view vulnerabilities. And then I have the list. How do I do to do that? Sorry. Okay. Okay, I got the list of vulnerabilities I have found during my build in my Jenkins. So you see, you don't have to scan, you don't have to do anything complicated. You just run your application as usual with your functional test or your regression test or whatever test you have. And eventually, the instrumentation will run and we'll see what's happening. We'll find the vulnerabilities. So like that, you do not slow down your build process. You just continue working as usual, just you add this instrumentation to be able to get your vulnerabilities. So this was some Maven tests. I have also an example with Selenium tests. Maybe you have Selenium tests. It's the same ID. If you have Selenium tests, you will be able to instrument your application and run your Selenium test to get your vulnerabilities. So now it's on another machine, but it will run an application called Ticketbook. And just after, it will instrument it, and just after, it will run my Selenium test. And just by running my Selenium test, I get, for every Selenium test, a security test in the background. So it should be automatic, so let's wait a bit. Okay, yeah, you can see it behind. Selenium is running now, and it's checking my application. So even if my unit test doesn't do such test, I can do it on Selenium or whatever mechanism that is checking the application. Okay, and once I do this, I can get, sorry. And I can see my vulnerabilities in my applications. So where is Ticketbook? It's there. And I see here the vulnerabilities in my after my Selenium test. Cool. So, yeah, I forgot to show something. It is also, for the QA, we can integrate this with, for example, Jira, and automatically open the Jira tickets, or semi-automatically open the Jira tickets if there is vulnerability. So this is what I have done. And if I connect here in my Jira, where is my Jira? It's not there. And I can see here that I just found a new ticket. I don't know if it's this one, forgive me, but I automatically opened a new ticket in my Jira after I found my vulnerabilities in my Jenkins or wherever. So instrumentation with the plugins can fail the build, can set the build unstable, and can automatically or semi-automatically create tickets in your tracking system. Another thing that is being done is the root coverage. So the instrumentation can see all the possible traces or routes in the application and can show you what you indeed have exercised and what you have not exercised. Like that, it gives you a good view of the coverage. Because you would say, yeah, okay, if I don't have any test on my application, do I really have these benefits of this instrumentation because I am not using my application? Well, first, in the development side, usually the developer will test what he has written before he does the check-in. So this is good enough. And I don't need a big test. I just need to check that what I have written is working. This is more than enough. That's why this route coverage will show you all the possible routes of your applications, and will show you how many routes have been exercised, so you have a good idea of what coverage you have done. This is most useful for the QA step, because on the QA step, okay, you want to run a minimum set of tests to be able to say, yes, this is secured, or this is not secured. Okay. Now, I switch to the production server, and with the same instrumentation, I am able to see and to monitor attacks on my application. So I am in prod. I will run my production application. So I can see here that it is instrumented. The instrumentation took like, I don't know, 1 second to set up, and will slow down my starting time for, you will not even notice that it will slow it down. Okay, my application is up now. I connect to it. Yeah, so before that, I wanted maybe to show in my dev, just a second, because I have the payload, but up. Okay, so I put this payload here, and I click. You see, I managed to get all the data from the table. This was the SQL injection exploited. But now in production, I will do the same, and I will try to exploit with this payload. And what you see, SQL injection happened, or detected, sorry. So the system saw that this was a malicious payload, and it's not like a WAF, because on a WAF, it would block directly on the HTTP layer. But no, here, it follows the HTTP layer inside the application and checks that this payload is really exploiting the vulnerability. If it's not exploiting a vulnerability, there is no need to block the user, because this is the big problem of web application firewall. Web application firewall block the traffic and break the application. So with the RASP technology, you are able to see that the attack is really harming the application. If it's not harming the application, there is no point to block the attack. So I will go now in here, and I will see that 2 attacks happened. And they were blocked. So I can click on the attack. So yeah, there should be 3 attacks now. Okay. And what we can see here, we can see that the payload has been sent to the application and was leading to that SQL query, was changing the meaning of my SQL query. Since it was changing the meaning of my SQL query, we can block because we are sure that this is a SQL injection. So here we can block like that the attacks on your application. For example, if you have a vulnerability in your library or in a component that you do not develop yourself, it will be very difficult for you to fix the vulnerability inside. So this protect feature, this RASP solution is able to block this kind of attacks and to protect your application, to make your application self-protect, for example, for libraries that are vulnerable or for components that you cannot or you do not have the source code. Okay. So it works in the custom code, in the libraries, and in the framework. All the layer of the application is protected and is instrumented. Therefore, a vulnerability can start in your custom code and finish in the application server. It will be detected and it will be blocked. Well, it's easy to deploy. And again, if you are using Pivotal or OpenShift, within a checkbox, you can deploy instrumentation. Okay, this is an example of what happened, I think, last year. This company had a big vulnerability in struts that was discovered in March and was detected only, if I'm not wrong, in July. So with instrumentation, this kind of vulnerabilities should be detected even if nobody knows it. If it's a zero-day attack, because it's a flow from user input to an execution of command, it's basic that an instrumentation will find this flow because it sees exactly what's happening in the application and it finds the flow from a user input to a command that is being executed, that contains a part of the user input. Therefore, this kind of events could still happen, but it's unlikely that it will happen if I instrument my application correctly. At least I will be able to see that someone is trying to attack me. Another thing is that since it's running on the application layer, if it's encrypted, or if it's hashed, or if it's base64 encoded, there is no problem. Because inside the application, you are able to see that this item or this payload is being decrypted or decoded. And then we have the real value of the payload. Like that, we are able to find, our instrumentation would be able to find whatever protocol you are using, whatever security you are using, will be able to find that there is an attack on your application. Okay, instrumentation is fast. So you can see here that, for example, if you set up a web application firewall in your production, your request will be slowed down by 5 milliseconds. If you use instrumentation, it's around 50 milliseconds. Therefore, it's 100 times faster than a WAF. So if I want to wrap up a bit, here we can see that my developer will get notified of their vulnerability in real time without changing the way of working. My continuous integration will benefit from security without even having to scan or to do whatever, just to run as usual. And I could also protect my application on the production side with the RASP technology. So this would be a legacy flow when I want to include my security inside my SDLC, where I have to run security tests after my functional tests. And eventually, if I deploy in production and I have a WAF, I have also to configure my WAF before I put this in production. With instrumentation, usually, you don't really have to do that because when you run your application, it is instrumented. So in the background, the security happens. So there is some free solutions that can be used. And the community edition of Contrast should be, I believe, you can try it, and you can see that it finds the vulnerabilities. It does not find a lot of false positive. It works in real time and continuously. Any questions? Yes?
Just coming.
Hi. So yeah, this looks like a good solution, but does it cover, because your example shows Spring, and a lot of solutions like AppDynamics and others work really well if you're using Spring and things and sort of really standard. But if you're using, for example, Lagom or Netty or Vertex or arguably more modern Akka HTTP, those solutions don't work so well. So does Contrast work well for non-Spring based solutions where it's arguably harder to track through the application code?
So yeah, it's per framework. You can go on the website. I think most of the famous framework in Java are supported. I'm not sure about Vertex, but Netty, Jetty, and those ones are supported. Xenon is supported. I don't know. There is like 20 frameworks that are supported. But yes, so for every framework, you have to do some work. So depending on your framework, eventually you will be able to instrument your application now or in a few months. So the community edition supports Java application only, but Contrast provides an enterprise solution for .NET, for Node.js, for Ruby, for Python, and also for Java.
So I have another question regarding false positives. So if I, as a developer, run it on my machine, get a false positive, I guess I can handle that. But if the system goes into production and there's still a false positive in, I get flooded with like thousands and tens of thousands of warnings in my Slack channel. Is there a way to handle that? Like so to exclude some of them?
In the production, you should not, because in production, the solution does not detect vulnerabilities, only blocks attacks.
Okay, let's say QA.
So in QA, if you have false positive, yeah, you can do like usual. You can teach the system that this is not a false positive. You can define, for example, the way we would have a false positive. Now let's explain the instrumentation. We have the good data flow graph. So we should not have a vulnerability because the data flow graph is wrong. So this eliminates 90% of the false positive. A false positive would be, okay, I have a validation function or a sanitation function that the system missed. And you can easily teach the system that there is this function that is doing validation of my user input or of my input, or this function that is sanitizing my input. This is already inside the solution. Maybe I can show it. So when I go here, security controls, and here, automatically, we detect some security controls, and then you can say, yes, this is indeed a sanitizer, or this is not a sanitizer, or whatever. And just by doing that, it will eliminate the false positive you have. Then sometimes it's a false positive because you decide that it's by design. And in that specific case, yes, you have to say that this is not a result because by design it's not a result. Then you should not be flawed because the Slack integration will be only on the development side, will not be on the QA side. On the QA side, it's even worse. We will open Jira tickets. So we will be flooded by Jira tickets. And that's why I say it can be automatic or semi-automatic, depending on how much you trust or how much it works on your application.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any benchmark regarding resource consumption between source code and the code itself?
Can you repeat the question?
Is there any resource consumption?
Yes, there
benchmark?
is resource consumption. Yes, there is resource consumption. So I explained that on the production side, you will have an overhead of 5 milliseconds, which is 100 times less than a WAF. And on dev or on QA, I don't know, on QA, for example, your functional test usually will take 30 minutes to run. So with the instrumentation, it will take maybe 40 minutes. You see? You don't really have to care about. Nobody cares that it takes, well, maybe some cares, but I don't really care that it takes 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And on my development side, since I do only one request, so my request takes maybe 1 second to test. So with the instrumentation, it will take 1.5 seconds. You will probably not notice it. What you will notice is when you run your application, yes, it takes a few seconds to set up the sensors in the application. This is about 5 or 6 seconds.
Okay, any
Thanks for the talk. I've noticed with App Dynamics or New Relic, it works really easily out the box with microservices communicating over HTTP, but sometimes things get missed that are getting sent over RPC or going into Kafka, RabbitMQ. Have you noticed similar issues with contrast?
Yeah, that happens. I hope the less possible, but that happens. It does not work well because the framework or the technology is not well supported. But most of the time that works well. And if it doesn't work well, then you do another way. But for example, before everybody was doing load runner to test the solution from the outside or Gmeter or whatever. But now with solution like App Dynamics, it's done in real time, in the background, and all the time. So if I do like a similarity, what you were doing before with Gmeter, maybe you do it with App Dynamics, and it's much better. What you would do with a Dast or a SaaS solution, you will do it with instrumentation, like App Dynamics, and it should be much better.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's the last question, so thank you very much.